Hi, today's book is called Barn Owl. This is one of Seth's favorite books. I don't know why, but it was a special comfort to him. He's now 22. The book is by Phyllis Flower, and the pictures are by Cheryl Pape. It's copyrighted 1978. High in the corner of the barn owl sits and waits. She's been sitting on her eggs for nearly a month. Sometimes during the day, her mate sits beside her. When she is hungry, he brings her food. At last, she feels something move beneath her. She stands up and looks down at her eggs. They are white and oval, smaller than hen's eggs. Last night there were 5, but now there are 4. Next to them, she sees a small white mound. The barn owl bobs her head up and down. She looks at her new baby. He has tiny white feathers called down. They are wet now, but they will dry soon and become fluffy. His face is heart-shaped like his mother's. His eyes are closed. His beak is curved, and on the end of his beak is a special tooth called an egg tooth. The owlet used it to break open his shell. It will fall off soon, for he no longer needs it. His ears are opening in his head, hidden under his feathers. He has 4 strong toes on each foot, and on the end of each toe is a sharp hook. It is called a talon. Someday he will use his talons for hunting. One talon has a very rough edge. He will use it to comb his feathers. Now the owlet is tired. Breaking open his shell was hard work. He needs to rest. So he cuddles under his mother's feathers and sleeps. When he wakes up, he is hungry. He is ready for the food that his father brings him. The owlet has a big appetite. He spends his time sleeping and eating. In 2 days, another egg hatches. The owlet has a brother. Soon, all the eggs have hatched. When he is about a week old, the owlet's eyes open. They are large and round and dark brown. He can see well at night with them, but he can only see straight ahead. He cannot move his eyes up or down. He cannot move them from side to side. He has to turn his whole head to look to the side. He can turn his head all the way around and look behind him. Now he sees his parents for the first time. His mother is a little larger than his father. Each has a white face and chest. Now the owlet is covered with short, woolly feathers. The 5 baby owls are growing larger, and they need more food. The mother owl goes out with her mate to find enough food. They hunt at night for rats and mice and small birds, moths and other insects. They fly silently. They can hear a mouse running over the ground. They can see a beetle crawling out from under a rock. When they find a mouse or a rat, they swoop down on it and they kill it with their sharp talons. Then they carry it to the nest. The babies are waiting for them with open mouths. They are always hungry. The owlet is the oldest and strongest. He fights to get fed first. The others have a turn after he has been fed. The owls do not chew their food. They swallow it whole. Then they spit up the bones, fur, and feathers in little bundles. These bundles are called owl pellets. One night, Mother Owl goes out hunting. Goes out hunting with her mate, and danger enters the barn. 2 yellow eyes, a dark shadow with a waving tail, a cat. The owlets sway back and forth. They open their beaks and make a hissing sound. The cat has climbed up to the rafter, just below the owl's nest. He creeps closer. The owlets do not scare him. He creeps closer and closer, and he is about to spring. When the mother barn owl returns, zoom! She swoops towards him and strikes him with her talons. The cat yowls and tries to jump away and falls to the ground. Quickly he runs to the door. The mother returns to her family, and the owlets are safe. The owlet is 2 months old now. He is as large as his father. His feathers are smooth and sleek, white and golden brown. It's time for him to learn to fly. He tries flapping his wings. He practices for several days. Then he looks down. It's a long way down to the ground. The hayloft is closer. He bobs his head up and down. At last he spreads his wings and takes off. When he flutters his wings, he comes down. He lands safely in the hayloft. One by one, his brothers follow his example. The first young owls practice flying around the barn. That looks like fun, doesn't it? One morning, the owlet flies near the barn door. There is a strange noise outside. The owlet hears it. He spreads his wings. He wants to fly up to the rafter, but it's a long way up. He does not fly high enough. He lands on the barn floor. He tries again. The mother owl has heard the noise too. She flies to the barn door. The noise comes closer. It is the voice of a man. The mother owl tries to scare him away. She sits on the ground and spreads her wings wide. She hisses and she sways from side to side. She looks very fierce. But the man does not see her. He does not come into the barn. The owlet has flown to a rafter. He is safe now. In a short time, the owlets have learned to fly, but they cannot feed themselves. When they are hungry, they call loudly to their parents. Sometimes the mother and her mate cannot find enough food for them. It's time for them to learn to hunt. I think I have a kid who needs to do that too. Just kidding. The owlet goes out at night. Like his father and mother, he flies silently. He watches the ground. He listens for every sound. There's a rustling noise and he dives down. Excuse me, I'm yawning. But he finds nothing. He lands on dry leaves. Then one night, he hears a squeak. He zooms down and lands on something soft and squirmy, a field mouse. It's the first meal he has caught for himself. A few nights later, the young owl is sitting in a tree. His brother is out hunting. He sees him catch a mouse. His brother carries it to the tree, but suddenly a shadow swoops through the sky. It plucks his brother from the tree and carries him off to the forest. It is the great horned owl, and it eats other owls. Now the days are growing cooler. The leaves turn yellow and red. The young owl wanders farther and farther from the barn. He can feed himself now. He's old enough to leave his parents. He finds a place where the hunting is good, and he stays there all winter. During the day he sleeps in different places, on the branch of a tree, under the roof of an empty house. After dark he looks for food. A cold wind blows and the ground freezes and snow comes. Little animals hide in their holes. In winter it is hard to find food. Sometimes the young owl must hunt by day to keep his stomach filled. Many days pass. The sunlight grows brighter. The snow begins to melt. Winter is nearly over. One chilly night, the young owl is ready to go hunting. He calls out the way he often does. Tonight, a soft hooting call answers him. He hoots once more, and again there is an answer. He follows the sound to the maple tree. There he finds a female barn owl. He is so excited he flutters his wings. He circles her several times, then he flies off. In a few minutes he returns with a mouse in his beak. He drops it in front of her. She takes the food. That means she has accepted him as her mate. The young owl sits next to her. They twitter and they snap beaks. Together they sway from side to side. They sit together and they sleep in the daytime, and at night they hunt. Before long his mate leads him to a dead tree. There's a large hole in it. She sits inside the hole. This is where she will lay her eggs. This is where he will bring food to their babies, just like his father before him. The young owl and his mate stay together all their lives. They may live for 15 years, even longer. The end. That's a really nice story of families, and it's a nice story of mothers and fathers looking over their children. So make sure that you thank your mother and your father for watching over you. And always, if you see a barn owl, it's a sort of a rare thing. So have you ever heard an owl out in the woods hooting? I have, when I've gone camping. After the sun goes down and I'm laying in a tent, I can sometimes hear an owl hooting. And there was one time where we had to walk to the bathroom at the campground, and there was an owl hunting, watching for mice under the light of the latrine, on the way to the latrine. So he was hunting on the latrine trail. Okay, have a good night. It certainly was nice visiting.